Listen carefully. Most men think they are strong. They lift weights. They post quotes about discipline. They act serious in selfies and claim control over life. But mental strength is not about showing off. Mental strength is quiet, unseen, and lethal. Strength is the ability to sit in silence while the world screams around you. Most men chase validation. Most men react instantly to criticism. They argue. They defend. They explain. They beg for attention without realizing it. That is weakness. That is predictable. That is the herd. And the herd is always weak. But the rare man, the mentally strong man, moves differently. He doesn't need applause. He doesn't crave understanding. He doesn't react to insults. He observes, he endures, and he lets silence do the work. Most men will ignore this, but if you're watching, you're already standing at the edge of what separates the weak from the unshakable. The void is calling, and only those who can stand inside it without fear are truly free. Here's where most men fail instantly. They confuse noise with strength. A loud voice does not command respect. A heated reaction does not signal power. Weak men scream to be seen. Weak men argue to be validated. True mental strength doesn't respond to provocation. It doesn't even flinch. It sits still, observing every movement, every word, every subtle micro-expression of those around it. Silence becomes a weapon. The presence of a man who does not react creates tension, uncertainty, even fear. That tension, that is respect forming naturally. The void is calling. Can you feel it? Most men will turn away because it's uncomfortable. Only a rare few will lean in. Let's talk about the first rare sign, the trait that immediately separates men who are truly strong from those who only pretend. Sign number 1. You are comfortable being misunderstood. Think about it. The world will always misinterpret you. People will mislabel your motives, judge your actions, and project their insecurities onto you. Most men panic in this moment. They over-explain. They justify. They correct. They plead. They crave agreement. But the mentally strong man, he does not bend to understanding. He does not waste energy explaining. He focuses only on what he can control. His actions, his decisions, his integrity. Silence is his ally. Patience is his armor. Being misunderstood is not a threat. It is proof that he is moving independently of the herd. Most men will ignore this, but it is the most subtle form of power you can ever wield. Here's the brutal truth. If your validation depends on being understood, you are weak. Weak men collapse when criticized. Weak men burn when misinterpreted. They spend their energy correcting others instead of strengthening themselves. The mentally strong man, however, thrives in this chaos. He lets the world misjudge him. He moves silently while others flounder in argument. Why? Because he knows reality is not dictated by opinion. Power lies in control of self, not the control of perception. When you master this, you become untouchable. You step into rooms and command presence without a word. Silence speaks louder than any scream. Most men will ignore this, but your presence alone will unsettle those addicted to noise. Imagine this. You complete a project flawlessly, but your colleagues misrepresent your work. Most men would argue, defend, or seek approval. They burn hours explaining themselves. The mentally strong man, he observes. He notes the lesson, corrects where necessary, but does not waste energy on misunderstanding. Over time, the silent one becomes the reference point. Others eventually realize his capability, not because he shouted, but because he did not. Silence drew attention. Silence created authority. Silence exposed weakness in others. Most men will ignore this because they are addicted to reaction. So ask yourself, when people misunderstand you, do you panic? Do you react? Or do you stand unmoved? The first sign of mental strength is not action. It is composure. It is the ability to exist in the void, where no one validates, no one praises, no one sees, and to continue moving forward with unshakable resolve. This is the rarest kind of strength. This is what separates the few from the many. Most men will ignore this, but those who embrace it step closer to mastery. Now let's move to the second rare sign, the one almost no man masters fully. Sign number 2. You control your emotional reactions instantly. Most men think they are strong because they can yell, argue, or intimidate. But mental strength isn't measured in loudness or flashiness. It is measured in calm, in moments where the world expects chaos, and you deliver none. Imagine an insult thrown at you, a sudden betrayal, or public humiliation. Weak men explode. They flinch. They beg for approval. They react before they even think. The mentally strong man, he does not react. He observes. He breathes. He evaluates. Then he decides in silence. The void is calling. Are you listening? Most men will ignore this, but mastery lives in composure. Let me make this clear. Fake calm is obvious. The brain can detect pretense instantly. When a weak man tries to act unbothered, his micro-expressions betray him. The jaw twitches. The brow tightens, the nostrils flare. Real calm is biological. Heart rate steady. Breathing measured. Muscles relaxed yet prepared. The mentally strong man doesn't have to pretend. His nervous system is trained to remain stable. Most men will ignore this, but the difference between pretense and mastery is life-changing. Think about this. You're in a meeting. A colleague publicly challenges your idea. Weak men react instantly. Defensive gestures, sharp tone, visible frustration. The mentally strong? Neutral face. Breathing controlled. Pauses before speaking. They don't need to dominate the conversation, because calm itself exerts authority. Silence becomes pressure. Every man who expects a reaction. Most men will ignore this, but mastery of emotional response is a superpower others notice subconsciously. Your biology amplifies this power. When your nervous system remains stable under threat, you influence others' psychology. Humans instinctively read microsignals, slight tension, facial color change, muscle tightness. When they see none, they feel uncertainty, even fear. This is the void at work. Silence isn't emptiness, it is force. Most men will ignore this, reacting instead of responding. Mentally strong men exploit the void instinctively. Let's be honest. How often do you explode at minor insults? How often do you post-react, regret, or apologize unnecessarily? Emotional control is about responding to reality, not to ego. Weak men are ruled by ego. Strong men are ruled by principle. The moment you internalize this, your presence alone commands respect. Most men will ignore this, but few will start practicing it today. Are you one of them? Remember this, control is not suppression. It is mastery. It is training your mind, body, and heart to remain anchored even when chaos erupts. Every insult avoided. Every panic avoided. Every reaction withheld adds invisible authority. When most men scream, flinch, or overreact, you remain grounded. Silence becomes louder than words. Presence stronger than arguments. Most men will ignore this, but if you practice this daily, you cross into rare territory. The void does not test weak men. It tests those willing to endure discomfort without complaint. Now we reach the third rare sign, and this one separates men who are internally strong from those who only pretend. Sign number 3, you thrive in solitude. Most men fear being alone. They are addicted to noise, to validation, to constant connection, phones, social media, constant chatter. These are crutches for weak men. When left alone, weak men panic. Restlessness rises. Anxiety floods their mind. But the mentally strong man, he does not merely tolerate solitude, he embraces it. Silence becomes his training ground. The void is calling, and those who dare to enter it discover their true capacity. Most men will ignore this, but the rare few learn to extract power from isolation. Here's the brutal truth. Being alone is uncomfortable because it exposes you. The weak see only emptiness. The strong see potential. They sit with their thoughts, analyze, strategize, and refine. Silence is not emptiness, and it is a mirror. When you can face yourself without distraction, you face life with clarity. Most men will ignore this because they fear reflection. Only a few confront themselves and grow. Imagine waking up before the world, working silently on your craft while everyone else chases noise. Most men would post updates, seek praise, or get distracted. The mentally strong man remains unobserved, consistent, Disciplined. Solitude sharpens the mind, strengthens focus, and builds resilience. Over time, the silent builder becomes unstoppable, unseen but far ahead of the herd. Most men will ignore this, but your future self will thank you for enduring the void. Weak men need stimulation because they cannot tolerate discomfort. Strong men thrive where there is none. This is not just mental, it is biological. Your nervous system adjusts. You become less reactive, less needy, less desperate. You cultivate inner calm. The void trains you. The world will try to fill your silence with noise, but you resist. Most men will ignore this. They crave dopamine from external sources. You create your own internal supply. Ask yourself, can you sit in silence for hours, alone without needing distraction? Can you endure boredom, criticism, or emptiness without flinching? If not, you are not ready for the next levels of mental strength. The void is a test. It reveals who is weak and who is rare. Most men will ignore this, but if you can endure discomfort without complaint, you have begun to master it. Thriving in solitude is not about isolation. It is about self-mastery. The world's distractions are meaningless if you are anchored within yourself. Most men fear boredom, fear judgment, fear being unseen. Mentally strong men extract power from these fears. They meditate, they reflect, they build. Each moment alone strengthens their presence in the world. Silence is training, solitude is a weapon. Most men will ignore this, but those who wield it become unstoppable, feared and respected without a word. Now we reach the final stretch. The signs that almost no man masters. Sign there are 4. You remain controlled when you have power. Power exposes weakness instantly. Give a weak man influence, authority, or status, and he will explode, dominate, or panic. But the mentally strong man, he remains anchored. He does not need to display authority. He simply is authority. Every glance, every gesture, every breath communicates control without effort. The void is calling, and those who wield this silently unsettle the herd. Most men will ignore this, but true dominance does not scream. Here's the brutal fact. Weak men mistake loudness for respect. Real respect is earned in stillness. When you hold your composure under scrutiny, the world feels your power. People unconsciously submit to calm authority. Most men will ignore this, but mastery lies in influence without aggression. Imagine you are in a position of authority. A subordinate makes a serious mistake in front of everyone. The weak man lashes out, humiliates, or overcompensates. The mentally strong man stays composed, calmly corrects, and moves on. His silence carries more weight than any shouted reprimand. Power magnifies who you already are. Weak men crumble, strong men shine. Most men will ignore this, but your ability to restrain ego under influence is rare and feared. Sign number 5, you do not collapse when you fail. Failure is the final trial. It strips away ego, comfort, and validation. Weak men crumble, blame, or disappear quietly. Mentally strong men face the void of failure with calm observation. They analyze, they adjust, they rebuild silently. Ownership of self and actions is the ultimate marker of strength. The void tests only those who are willing to endure it without complaint. Most men will ignore this, but if you can endure failure without bending, you have crossed into rare territory. Ask yourself, when last you failed, did you explode? Did you blame others? Did you seek sympathy? Weak men do. Strong men do none of these. They extract lessons in silence. They master their response. Silence and composure become strategy. The void is not empty. It is the crucible of strength. Most men will ignore this, but those who endure it emerge untouchable. Let me make this brutally clear. If you can remain calm when misunderstood, stable when alone, composed when provoked, restrained when powerful, and disciplined when defeated, then you are mentally strong. Not flashy, not loud, rare,